All right, folks, Jeremy Hazel here from 7seasonstudios.com. And if you like this lesson and you want a complete course on all of the 1.9 updates that came out, go ahead and check the link below where we give you some actionable ways to take all of the 1.9 updates in Affinity Designer and to do a really cool project with them. All right, folks, on behalf of 7 Season Studios, thank you so much for taking the journey with us, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, folks, welcome back to Affinity Designer. This is one of the biggest updates in 1.9, in my opinion. This is the ability to link images and create a work package, let's say, that so when you send it to somebody, if they're going to continue on with the document, it collects all of the images, the fonts, and everything that you've used in a nice little bundle. So this is used when you're about to, say, export it or when you're about to transfer it. We use this all the time in our t-shirt business because we might use a mock-up like you see right here. And as we're putting different images on the mock-ups, if we had to save the image size, the mock-up size, the text, and all of that, every single client for every single variant of every single design, it would become unmanageable. Our servers would really just fill up very quickly. So this does two things. One, if you pass off the package, it makes sure that whomever opens it up has everything they need. And secondly, it limits your file sizes so that they're very small. So let's go ahead and see how this does this. So I've just got this image of a t-shirt. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down and I'm going to go to File, Place. Now, I'm going to come down and I'm going to find somewhere down here. Let's do this. Let's go to the far-reaching area here. It's a project I was working on. So I'll do this. We'll bring it down. And then I'm going to just change the blend mode. Boom. All right. T-shirt design done. Now, let's go ahead and pull an image from another space. Now I'm going to pull a big one here. Let's go place. And I'm going to pull a pretty substantially sized image just to show you how this works. I'm going to grab a backdrop. This is not the backdrop that I would use, but it's about 40 megabytes. So this thing is huge. Okay. So we're going to take this and we're going to bring this in from a completely different area on my computer system, right? Bring it to the bottom. All right, perfect. Now let's add in some text. Now, there's a certain thing I want to show you here. I'm just going to create some text and we're going to make it white. And I'm going to use an on-purpose restricted style font, which means I purchased this. There is a copyright associated with it, so this is not just free to use. And so I'm going to drop this down now a little bit. All right, perfect. There's a textual element, there's a big old background, and there's an image all on this t-shirt. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my view and I'm going to go to my resource manager right here. This is new. All right. Now in the resource manager, you see the subtle portrait background is embedded. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it linked. Now it's linked. Same thing with this. I make it linked. Now this 40 megabyte file is not embedded in my Affinity Designer file. This will cut it down quite substantially. But notice that it's pulling from this section in my D drive. This is pulling from a different section in my D drive. So what we have to do is we now have to hold Shift and we're going to collect them. Now what's going to happen is it's going to ask you where you want to collect it. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call it Elephant. And we're going to collect them. Now what it's going to do now, it's going to reach out and it's going to grab them. So if I go now to my desktop and I go to Elephant, look at that. They've taken them and they've placed them in the same area. And now the linkage is the same. So now they are linked to Affinity Designer, but yet they're in their own linkage. So if I shared this file with somebody, all of the images that I need are there. Now, once I do this, I continue on with my work. I do what I need to do. All good. Now, let's go ahead and get this thing ready to pass off. The next thing we're going to do is when you're ready to pass it off, you go to File, and you're going to save as a package. Now, this is what I was talking about. The document contains one or more restricted fonts, which means there are proprietary, say, licenses for the font. Please ensure you are working with applicable copyright laws. Yep, this isn't going anywhere. I'm not sending it to anybody. And the reason why they want you to do this, if you go to fonts, when you complete the package, it will not only send the images, but it will send the fonts as well. So what's going to be in the package is that subtle portrait background and a finished project. And it's also going to send the font. Now it's going to ask you where you want to place these things. Okay, now watch this. We're going to create a new folder. It's important it's an empty file. New folder. And let's call it Elephant 2. Okay. So we're going to put it in Elephant 2. And Affinity Designer, please package it up. Here it goes. Now, what just happened? Let's go ahead and close this. We're not going to save any changes. And now, if I come in, let's go a little bit heavier here. Let's find where I put that. And we're going to look at here. And we're going to put Elephant 2 in the building. Look at the font. There's the font copied. There's the images copied. And when I open up the document, notice it's got all the fonts, all the images. Boom, there it is. And if I come down to the resource manager again, they are linked. All right, folks, that's a little bit on this new update for Affinity 1.9. Again, the ability to link documents is huge, as is the ability to create a work package. Hope you learned a little bit about Affinity, and I hope this is as useful for you as it is for me. All right, we'll see you in the next one.